welcome back everyone to another About Teams video. And today, you know what it is, another NBA recap. And boy, this was a good game. Something I wasn't expecting as, slide loads up. This was an unexpected close game one. I kind of, I knew Indiana was going to put up a fight in the series, but, kind of an emotional win for Indiana Sunday against New York. I was like, maybe, Boston just kind of punches them in the mouth, well rested, better team home. And they did early. I think the game started off ugly for Indiana. It was like a 12-0 Boston run early on. And then, that's when I kind of was starting to check out, thinking, should I go to the grocery store? But then Indiana just slowly but surely came back, and a big part of that was a big first quarter from Obi Toppin. I believe just in that first quarter alone, he had 11, 12 points. So that kind of kept Indiana afloat. And then it was tied at half with a Tyrese Halliburton, basically half-court shot. And it was an electric game. Boston then punches back, goes up by 11 midway through the third. But then Indiana kind of keeps fighting. But the summary for this, for me, and Indiana's proven me wrong before. Against New York, they lost a couple close games. This was just a straight-up collapse. I don't know why in the last 30 seconds, you have two chances to ice it. Tyrese Halliburton dribbles the ball off his leg, out of bounds, inbounds pass off Pascal Siakam. They're a young team, I get it, but you can't lose this game. This should be a game where you're up 1-0. And everyone still thinks you're going to lose the series. Now you choked a game away. I think Boston will win this in 5 now. That's a game where Indiana, you have to have it. Now Boston has all the momentum. Jason Tatum finally showed up in the overtime. You blew it. That's straight up. You're an underdog team. If you went up 1-0 in the series, I could get behind them possibly upsetting, but this is a game you had to have. You had in your pocket. You just need to find someone. I don't know what it is with this happened with the Timberwolves too late in the Nuggets game. It didn't come back to bite them. But why is no one moving around? Just move around, get a little bit of separation, get the ball, they'll foul you. I see Aaron Nesmith kind of just standing there, half the team standing there. Tyrese Halliburton's just not me. Pascal Siakam's the only one trying to move. It's what are you guys doing? I couldn't explain it. It frustrated me just as a neutral fan. Obviously for Boston, they're hyped. Jaylen Brown made a good energy play to knock it out. But Indiana collapsed. You should be shooting free throws, winning the game. There was 10 seconds left. You don't foul them so you allow Jaylen Brown to get a 3-point shot off. It's frustrating as a neutral fan because you're you hate to see stupid mental errors. It's just what are you doing? But shout out to Boston. They stayed with it. That's why the definition of you play until the game is over, until zeros are on the clock. So shout out to Boston. Indiana showed, I guess, a positive thing. Their offense is going to be there, even against that's the Celtics. But my main takeaway is Indiana, you blew it.
Yeah. I went upstairs. I was watching with my dad. And with a minute and a half left, Celtics were just bricking shots, and Indiana was still, playing consistent. And me and him both kind of went up to bed and we're this game's over. They folded this game. I had it on in my room, kind of was looking up, watching, half watching, kind of pissed off because, they, like you said, they got out to 2 double-digit leads and blew both of them by just chucking up threes. Really, the way I saw it is the Celtics shot Indiana back into the game. When they got up by 12 points, they started, Tatum started doing his step back 3 that we all know isn't that good.
I don't know why he does that.
No. And every time in this game, when he would drive to the hoop, he'd get an and one or just a layup or a foul. Bro, use that. I don't think there's anybody on that other defense that can guard you if you're just driving to the hoop. But what do I know? But I think you're absolutely right. Indiana should have won that game. I was when it was when Halliburton hit that half court shot at the end of halftime, I was saying to myself, I'm this game has the feel of it's going to come down to Indiana having the ball last and hitting some crazy game-winning shot to steal a game in Boston. And I thought that was going to happen even after Jaylen Brown tied the game. I thought they still had like 5 seconds left on the clock. I'm like, dude, this is it. This is where they steal the game from you. And luckily, Celtics played pretty good defense. I thought. I didn't think there was a foul. People can complain about free throws all they want. I'm not, Celtics still won, but I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Can't complain
I'm
about
happy
free
they
throws.
took it. I thought Drew Holiday was like the
Yeah.
X factor in this game. He played incredible.
Yep. Drew Holiday's been a questionable playoff character because when he got traded to the Bucks, he won them a championship, but has those very inefficient games in the playoffs where he kind of shoots you out of them sometimes, even though no matter how good he is in the regular season. But he stepped up tonight, and his defense was insurmountable. Tyrese Halliburton couldn't dribble past half court. It felt like the last 2 minutes of the game. So shout out Boston, clutched up, they showed their playoff experience. But what worries me is there's just these games where shots aren't falling for the Celtics. And I think a better team like the Mavericks or Timberwolves, because I think both of those teams are better than Indiana. And I think Boston obviously is, no matter how close this game was. I think if the Celtics kind of keep jacking up threes and they're just not falling, I feel like teams like the Mavericks and Timberwolves could make them pay because those just aren't going to work. And against the Mavericks, defense has been really underrated since they acquired, I think it was PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. Length, the shots are going to be contested, and they kind of just still keep jacking them up. And that frustrates me with Tatum because when he goes to the rim, he drives and gets and ones. And it's like, why are you like trying to hit contested shots? You're like 6'9", whatever. Like,
no shit.
It's frustrating to watch as a neutral fan as well for that.
Also, just another very frustrating bit. I think when we went into overtime, I wanted to take a quick look at the stats. Al Horford going into overtime was 3 of 11 from 3-point range.
No.
Stop shooting the ball.
Yeah, he did hit one clutch one late in the fourth to like pull them within 2. They're missing Kristaps shooting right now.
Yes, very, very much. I think I know you said Indiana in 5 after this game is what you're thinking.
Boston in 5.
Boston 5.
Yeah, I don't think Indiana's winning. But maybe, who knows?
But I think every game is going to be something like this. I don't think there's going to be many blowouts.
It could be, but Boston, I think, has those games where they just shoot amazing from 3. They didn't shoot great this game, but also I think that we're not going to see like that high percentage because as much as people don't like to say, fatigue does play a factor eventually. They're just, you get worn out. And those shots that, you consistently hitting, you get a little fatigued, going to come up a little bit short. So they're going to really need Tatum to step up in his driving game, and he did that in overtime. So big win, but I'm very curious how the series goes moving forward. How does Indiana respond in game 2? You blew this game.
I'm pretty sure even going into halftime, they were shooting like 60%. And I was like we talked about, I didn't think it was sustainable to do that after the Knicks game.
Their offense, they're not going to shoot that good, but their offense is sustainable. They're going to put up like 110 points at least in the playoffs. The game kind of slows down, so that's still really good. But their defense obviously is really susceptible. And I'm surprised Rick Carlisle didn't learn from the Bucks series. You got to foul, man. You got to foul. Don't let them get a shot off. Frustrating as a neutral fan, but congrats to the Celtics. They pulled it out. It's like, but Indiana, just what are you doing? Because I'd be frustrated if it was my team too. And they did try that against the Nuggets, where Cat's panicking, running, like, dude, just call a timeout. Stop being an idiot. I don't know. It's frustrating, but all right. Speaking of that, though, we have one game tonight. Mavericks Timberwolves Western Conference Finals starts. As a Timberwolves fan, this is uncharted territories, we call it. I'm excited. I know that crowd is going to be rocking. I'm expecting a great series, 6-7 games. Curious how we guard Kyrie and Luka, probably the best backcourt in the league right now. How does the front court respond? Rudy Gobert. Jaden McDaniels is coming off 2 of his best games of his career in the clutch when they were down 3-2 to the Nuggets. Anthony Edwards, the moment's yours. Everyone has kind of noticed you this year. How do you come out? How do the acquisitions for Dallas do? PJ Washington, kind of the X factor. Derek Jones Jr. Those were the X factors in the OKC series. I'm curious how it all plays out. I think it's going to be a great series. I'm just, I'm optimistic as a Timberwolves fan we can pull this series out. I'm just hoping no emotional hangover for the Timberwolves. It was a great comeback, but you got to be locked in. This is a whole nother mountain. It's a different mountain, different talent, but they still got the top 2 player in the world like the Denver Nuggets. So you got to be ready. Kyrie, I think, is kind of, like a better version than Jamal Murray. Can just get his shot off whenever. And I think they'll need more out of him in the OKC series. But, number 1 defense for a reason. I'm excited, though. I think it's going to be a great series. And, we'll see how it all plays out tonight, kind of get our first glimpse of how these 2 teams match up, because even though they played 4 times, I believe all of them were like before the trade deadline when the Mavericks were like not that great of a team. And then after, they became one of the best teams in the West. And that's why they're here now. So we don't really know how they'll match up, but I'm very interested to see how it'll look.
Yep. I think I picked Mavericks. Timberwolves in 6.
Yeah, I haven't gone the distance.
I'm expecting game 1 might be a slow start. Like you said, that little emotional hangover from such a big win in Denver and then coming back home.
Also,
the fans will probably keep them in it. I think tonight's game could go either way, though, really.
And I think for Mavericks too, though, like they don't want an emotional hangover as well, because they came back from down, I believe it was like 17 to the Thunder in game 6, and Kyrie was emotional at the podium with Luka. So, it's an emotional hangover for both teams, but I know like Kyrie and Luka, or especially Kyrie, he's older, more mature, knows how to respond.
Yeah.
The thing that still concerns me is like, even though I love him, Anthony Edwards, 22, like, are they like caught up in their feelings? Because it just gives me a glimpse back to the Denver Nuggets series when they went up 2-0. They had like 4 days off. I believe like game 2 was Monday, and then the game 3 back home was Friday. And they were doing all these Good Morning America interviews. Everyone was calling, the series over. And I think it gets inside their heads because they're a younger team. But I trust, Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert, and even Karl Anthony Towns. They're late 20s, early 30s, especially Mike, middle 30s. You got to be ready. You got to be ready for war. This is going to be a different war. But sorry, I just wanted to get that out there. We got to be ready, boys.
Yeah, good series, though. It's going to be a fun series to watch. Both conferences. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think this one will be better than especially since Indiana blew that. I mean, man, like
I still think they're going to be good games, regardless of how many games goes. I think they're going to be good games because Indiana's offense is the number 2 offense in the league behind the Celtics.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be able to keep pace, no matter how far the series goes.
It will be interesting, and I'm excited. This should be a great series. We'll see how it all plays out, though. Tonight, I'll be watching, and we'll be able to recap it, see where everything stands after one game. But that's the beauty of a series. It turns like that. But should be an exciting time, man. As a Timberwolves fan, never been here. I was born in 2003. We made the Western Conference Finals in 2004. It's 20 years now, so we're back. And I saw Kevin Garnett is supposed to come to one of the home games, so that'll be very exciting.
That place rocking.
Yeah, that would.
Wonder what he'll do if they Celtics and the Timberwolves play. Who's he rooting for?
I actually coincidentally I saw that on a podcast. I believe it was with Paul Pierce, and he said like he was like, "I'll go into whatever locker room like wins to celebrate." He'll be like, if the Timberwolves win, let's go, and then like Celtics, yeah, we did it. Like it's like, and I respect it. I mean, it's kind of controversial, like who he'll be known for. I know Boston, like you guys think, he won the championship there, but his best years were really with the Timberwolves. Yeah. He won his MVP with the Timberwolves. So it's kind of, 50-50. And I always kind of thought it was weird, like, for whatever reason, Boston and Minnesota have, like, the stars, Randy Moss, playing for the two teams. Like
David Ortiz.
David Ortiz, always known as a twin first. But with that, and then KG. But yeah, should be exciting. We're looking forward to recapping it. And then get a preview of tomorrow. I believe it's Western Conference. There's no 5 days off now. It's just back.
Yeah, just every other.
Which is great. So we can speed this thing up.
Yeah.
But with that being said, thank you guys all for listening. We'll catch you next vid. Peace.